Okay, welcome everyone.
Well,
Our
It's
afternoon,
recording.
our daily afternoon class. Come sit when you
We have to be on our best
get
behavior.
the best view. Yeah, the regular.
Both of their names are more. That's like Ezzy and I.
Yeah, look at the facial expression. Really, the
That's
mouth.
what reminded me of us.
It's like
I'm not Rabbi Yochanan.
and that kind of arguments too.
Yeah.
It's exactly the style of all your arguments. It's like, no, you got the Gemara better. No, you understood it correctly first. No, it was your insight. Right? It was like,
Ezzy's missing the best part.
okay. So, yeah, we're going to talk about the most important topic, arguably, in the Torah. Maybe not arguably. And that's the, it's ignoring me. My mic is ignoring. So I should click on this maybe once and then it's going to start paying attention? Yeah. Yeah, okay. So the topic that we're going to talk about is V'havtarecha kamecha. This is the great principle of the Torah. Quote Rabbi Akiva, right? The 5 reasons to talk about this topic now, as if you needed it. So first of all, it's the days of Sfira Saimer. One of the themes of Sfira Saimer we mentioned in yesterday's class is the mourning of the tragedy, the loss of the thousands of students of Rabbi Akiva, and it says that it was the reason why they passed on was because they were deficient in their respect for each other. So it's a time when we work on that, on connecting and respecting each other. We also mentioned other ideas connected to Sfira Saimer, which is this idea as well, number 2. How it's a time to prepare for Matan Torah, and one of the major preparations for Matan Torah, according to Chassidus, was the day when they arrived at the mountain, at Mount Sinai. It says they camped there, like as one person with one heart. It says it in the singular. Vayichan Sham Yisrael neged Ahad. At the mountain they camped like one person, and this is not just a nice event, but it was actually very, very, very fundamental to receive the Torah as a prerequisite that they experienced. Okay, so it's another reason why we could talk about this topic, and we're going to be doing this once a week. This topic we're going to do once a week for the next month or so. So also, Hashgacha Pratis is this week's parsha has the source of this topic, this lovely topic that we're talking about. Welcome, settle down, get comfortable. You're surprised, you're wondering why we're being so nice to him. If you wouldn't know what the class is about, you wouldn't be surprised. Okay. And we actually had a picture of you and your chavrissa before. You missed it. Yeah, it was like perfect.
I'm not Rabbi Yochanan.
Just show him real quick, Rabbi, real quick.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We're live. All right, no one's gonna know anyway because you're not seeing my face. But this is what we decided: is you and your chavrissa all the time.
Yeah.
This is basically what's going on in every argument.
The standing is
Every argument, the emotions, everything. Okay, it's mamish, mana.
I'm pretty sure my hand was
Okay.
his face today too.
Okay, so then we had already 3 reasons why it's now. It's in the parsha. Also, it's at times Chavches Nisan yesterday, but it's also the end. The Rebbe said our generation is the last generation of exile, first generation of redemption. That means this topic is automatic. Just for that is already. It's always an important topic to talk about because that's so connected to the end of our exile and to bringing Mashiach. And also that Yom Yom today was about Ahavas Yisrael. So we have a lot of reasons to talk about if you need it.
What was that Yom Yom today about?
Check it out. About Ahavas Yisrael. We're gonna have it later.
I thought it was yesterday's Yom Yom.
Oh, it's yesterday. Okay.
About which one is greater.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah, that was yesterday. Okay. I might do one day all the Yom Yoms about Ahavas Yisrael as another class in this series. We'll discuss those. But let's get to the actual thing. So I want to focus on a specific thing. Each week we're going to try to take one area of it and try to expand it And hopefully by the end of a few of the series of classes or workshops, we'll have a lot more information about this important mitzvah. So the context of the verse is yesterday's Chumash, right? This week's parasha. Shouldn't have resentment or hatred to your brother in your heart. You have to share with him if he did something to you that's causing you pain. You cannot hold it in and then have negative feelings towards them. And then you won't carry a sin of hating it. You should not do revenge or bear a grudge or resentment. And you should love your fellow like yourself. Ani Hashem. So I put some English. I want to focus in this class on the word kamoicha, as yourself. What exactly is this word doing, right? We'll spend another class on Ani Hashem, probably. We'll also spend a class on what is the definition of loving and how do you fulfill that exactly. Maybe we'll also discuss every word here could be taken apart. But today I prepared first kamoicha. It's an interesting word. Well, who needs the word kamoicha there, right? Is it adding something? Is it taking away? Is it qualifying? What if it would just say v'ahavta l'reacha? Love your fellow. Period. Right? What's kamoicha like yourself? Is it something less? Is it something more?
More.
I want to share with you quite a few insights about this. First, an interesting, cute one, and then another three that are very, very deep and insightful. But the first one's it's an interesting one. It's just cute. I saw it in the Sefer, and I want to start off with something more gentle. So, who is the most difficult and challenging to love? According to Rashi, in the beginning of the Torah. I'm giving you a hint. Now, you're going deep already. We're going to get to that later. What does Rashi say in the first Torah portion? Now that I think about it,
The Abishter.
it's pretty impressive. No? It's pretty impressive that this is a thing already.
How my family, my Rashi
My
test.
family? My family.
No.
No.
No, who does the
Your mother-in-law.
You love?
Who does Rashi say it's like very challenging to love? Like
Your enemy, your enemy.
close. Next
No,
close.
no, hold on. How
Huh?
people that scorn you?
Oh.
What is it?
People that criticize you or scorn you?
So Rashi brings like this. He says these words. But the snake told Chava, Kol Uman, and Soines Bnei Nasai. Everyone hates the competition, naturally. So you were close,
Torah
competition.
also says people would divorce and then remarry.
So the concept of like this is like someone who's like you, meaning in the same business, the same line, in the business, in the work, they open something very similar right next to you. That what?
How do you literally translate Uman?
Craftsman. That's what it said. A professional crafts, like a skilled work job or something. So this is the first insight. Again, I told you it's more of a cute one, that it's saying "V'ahavta l'reacha kamoicha" means who? Even kamoicha. Love your fellow, even the one who's your competition. Kamoicha. He has the same business as you and this. Needs extra encouragement because it's more of a challenge. And of course, without going, we can have a whole class on how it works. But the basic idea is Hashem sustains everyone according to their true need. And it's not, you don't have to get threatened, intimidated by someone who's in the same work as you. Again, it could be challenging in real life, but the Torah perspective is, right? Like the fortune teller here, set up a whole shop charging $10, but she somehow didn't know that someone was going to set up something charging 5 cents right outside. Guess the fortune wasn't working so good that day, right? There is halachas of asagas gvul. That means there is restrictions according to Torah. You could speak to a Rav, how close you could be in a certain neighborhood, there is laws. Actually, it doesn't apply in certain, like in chinuch, in teaching. You're allowed to like open a school usually right next door because it says that the competition will make everyone have to improve their quality, and that's good for Torah. It's like, but in most jobs and most things, there is restrictions how close you could do it. There's guidelines in halacha, but after that, it's Hashem. You're just making vessels, and Hashem is blessings filling up your vessels, and you don't have to get fragile. There's a lot of great stories about it, but it deserves its own class. So that's the first insight. Now let's go deeper. The following is a teaching of the Baal Shem Tov. David HaMelech says in Tehillim, in chapter 121, Hashem shebrecha, Hashem tzilcha yad yeminecha. Hashem is like your shadow. your guardian. He's by your right hand. That's what the verse says. And this is usually understood that he's your shadow in a sense, like he's right there at your side. He got your back. Hashem got your back. He's protecting you. And that's the classical way of translating this verse. But there's a deeper insight. The Baal Shem Tov said, Hashem is literally like your shadow. Yosef, do something in front of the projector. See what Yosef is doing? See how that works? Do it live. You see how a shadow works? It copies exactly what you do. So the Baal Shem Tov said it's a much deeper insight. Hashem is like your shadow. That it's actually, he treats you like you treat others. He copies you. He's your shadow in the way he treats you. Much deeper insight. Ahavta l'reacha, should love other people, even sometimes they don't deserve it. It's not so simple. They don't, you think seems not justified. You should be loving and patient and forgiving and tolerating with them. Kamoicha, Hashem will treat you the same way, even when you don't always deserve the blessings. This is how the Baal Shem Tov translated this verse. But first, another beautiful insight of the Baal Shem Tov from Pirkei Avos. It says, reflect on three things and you'll be able to have self-discipline. If anyone is into that, right? What's the three things? Reflect on where you're coming from, where you're going, where you came from, and before who you're going to give an account and a reckoning. You're going to give an account and a reckoning. If you reflect on this, and it says you're going to worms, you came from a putrid drop, and you're going to give an accounting before the King of Kings, right? This will help you have self-control. But the Baal Shem Tov points out an interesting nuance. The word din v'cheshbon, before you're going to give an accounting and a reckoning. What's with the order? The din has to be after the cheshbon. The cheshbon is like the assessment, the calculation. Din is the verdict, the ruling. It should be l'fnei mi'ata asid litein cheshbon v'din. Why is it written this way? First, like the judgment and the verdict, and then the accounting. See how strange it is? This is the Baal Shem Tov's question. And you know what he answered? Another beautiful insight. He says, everybody is in your life. You're going to be shown other people doing things that seem wrong. And then you're going to give a verdict. You're going to either judge them favorably or you're going to condemn them. And then they're going to tell you, this happens sometimes upstairs after 120, or it happens during your life as well. They're going to say, now it's your turn. Everything that you were judging actually are things that you also did. We just showed it to you and others. And the way you did a verdict on them, we're going to take that into the account. That's why it says first din and then cheshbon. Your judgment is going to be taken into the accounting, into the evaluation of how we should treat you, how you were judging others. So this is the idea that the v'ahavta l'reacha. Why? Because if you're judging people favorably and treating them patiently and lovingly, even when you could have good excuses, it would seem not to, Hashem will treat you the same way. It's a good motivation to do this. Okay. Insight number 3, another way to explain this word. This following is from the Tzemach Tzedek, in Derech Mitzvah. Okay? Tzemach Tzedek is the 3rd Rebbe of Chabad. He lived from 1789 to 1866. He was the grandson of the Alter Rebbe, the author of the time, the founder of Chabad. Okay, so he points out like this. It's a mitzvah to love your fellow like yourself. It sounds so nice. It sounds like such a nice line. But in real life, it's not so simple. What about people who annoy me? What about people who have ridiculous opinions? Who look at things different than me, right? What about people who have different political views than me? People who are annoying. They do things that are not so easy. How do you expect me to actually love them? It sounds nice and it looks good, but realistically, people that are like my type and we share, we have common things, and they don't ruffle my feathers, and they don't, get me annoyed. So it's easy to love them. But in the real world, there's also these kinds of situations. And how do you expect me to actually have love towards them? What's the practical solution to that? So the Torah adds the word kamoicha. Look how he explains it. Let's see. Everybody has strengths and weaknesses. We all have good points about ourselves that we're proud of. That we have our talents, the parts of ourselves that we're more confident, the areas in our life where we have confidence, right? And we're good at, and we like to show that and make a good impression. And that's what we like to shine a light on. And there's also parts of us where we're weaker, where we don't have such good performance and consistency, and we don't like to talk about that. We don't like to focus on that. We definitely don't want to shine a spotlight on that. We like to say, this is what you want to focus on me, when it comes to me. And this is how we love ourselves. And we say we're still worthy of love, and we feel that we should be accepted and respected, even if we have things that are not so perfect. Why? Because don't define me by my bad day or by things I did when I was in a bad place. That's not me. I have all these good things to like about me. That's who I am. Those other things, that wasn't me. It was a bad day. It was I was in a someone got me insulted. I was having a hard day, a hard time. Don't define me by my mess ups, by my moments of weakness. There's still so much to admire and respect, and I'm worthy and valuable. And let's focus on that. That's what you do to yourself. That's how you perceive yourself. Right? So the Tzemach Tzedek says, Kamoicha. Not just treat your fellow the same way. Don't define him by the thing you noticed that was bad and magnify that and shine a light and focus on this and say that's you're bad and you're negative, you don't deserve to be treated respectfully or lovingly and so on. Do the same exact thing. That's how you could do that. Just like you love yourself despite your faults and imperfections, you could do the same thing with others. This is how he translates the verse. Oh, we got a joke. You made it this far. I love the neighbor part. Does that include cats? Okay. He's getting worried. Okay. So how does he try the Tzemach Tzedek teach it? But how? So the Torah adds kamoicha. Just like you find a way to love yourself, right? Despite your imperfections. Why? Tell yourself it's not me. There's a lot of beautiful parts to me that we could focus on. Let's do that to another person as well. The same exact thing. Let's treat others. Very, very practical tips, if you want to call it, and insights. Oh, it's a Kutsk story. They say there was once a fish swimming in the water, and he noticed a little worm, and he got hooked. And he got yanked out of the water by a fishing hook, goes flying through the air, and he lands in a tiny little bucket. He was in a big lake, and now imagine how the fish feels. His whole world became dark and scary. What's going to happen? And then he hears the fishermen say, "Ooh, it's a nice fish. The king loves fish." So the fish heaves a sigh of relief. Okay, it's not going to be so bad. The king loves fish. I'm sure they're going to treat me nice. And they bring him to the palace. And they go through the back door to the kitchen. And they take him out of the bucket. And the chef puts him on the table. And he's like, "Hey, what's going on? Hey, I thought the king loves fish. The king's going to find out what they're doing to me. This is torture. This is abuse. This is animal rights, They're starting, and he takes a knife and he starts to cut the fish. About to cut the fish.
Fish. No, he doesn't.
And just as he's about to cut the fish, a shadow appears in the doorway. The king himself walks by. And the fish like, "Wow, thank God, at the last moment." And the king says, "Let me have the knife. I love fish so much, I'm going to cut it myself." And then the fish, which if you didn't know, sometimes fish have one chance to speak English one time in their life, and the fish calls out, and it says, "Liar, you don't love fish, you love yourself." That was it. That's the story, the Kotzk story. Want to hear the original? That's the way I heard it. That's the way Rabbi Tursky writes it. The original version goes like this. He saw somebody eating a nice tuna fish sandwich or something. I don't know. He was eating a piece of fish, and he said he was like really into it. So he says, you're like, why are you eating it? It's like, I love fish. He's like, really? That's out of your love for the fish. You took it out of the water and you cut it up and you cooked it, and that's what you do to those that you love. Say the truth. You love yourself, right? Say it as it is. Don't fool yourself, right? This is a big issue in America these days.
I love
In the
myself.
Western world, the word love becomes so distorted for the expressions, the way we use it. I love chocolate, and I love New York, and I love this celebrity, and I love this theme. And
I love
we
coffee.
we diffuse the word, and we like we use it so much, or distort it so much, it has lost all meaning. And the truth is, according to Torah, how love is actually doesn't mean pleasure or receiving anything. It means giving. Real love is when you give. I'm gonna have that later. But I want to share one more
So if I
another
don't love the
insight.
coffee, then the coffee must love me, or nothing's going on there.
We'll see.